It's time for What Drives Reno, presented by the National Automobile Museum in downtown Reno. Here's your host, Phil MacDougall.
Welcome, Reno. This is your host, Phil MacDougall, and you're on What Drives Reno. This show is made possible by the National Automobile Museum. We have another great show here today. But before we get into with our first guest, I want to remind you of the word of the day. The word of the day. We still don't have any music.
No
sound effects. Still work. Okay, we're getting worse now. We're getting worse. Word of the day is UNR. UNR. If you walk up, the first three people that walk up to admissions today only on Saturday, you will get free admission. Free admission to the museum. All you have to say is UNR tickets, please, and that means you want free tickets. First three people to do that get into the museum and enjoy 240 amazing automobiles. Sound like a deal?
Sounds great.
All right, I am so excited. Our first guest here today is President Sandoval at the University of Nevada, Reno. Thank you for coming to the show today.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me.
Very, very grateful. We always start off with, what was your first car? I know we've had this conversation in the past, but I'd love our listeners to kind of hear a little bit about it.
Well, there are two first cars. I mean, there's the one you rode in, the one you own. So I'll talk about the one I own.
Okay.
So my first car was a 1971 Volkswagen Beetle Bug. Love that little orange car. It took me everywhere I needed to go, up and back and forth to Lake Tahoe, and really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's what it was.
First one. Any good stories you could share? Off the air?
Yeah.
That's funny, because everyone I ask that question to, they either jump right in or immediately their first thought is, yeah, but no, I'm not going to share that one.
No, I mean, just everyone, your first car, and I think I paid $700 for it. And your first car always has these quirks, and one of the quirks on mine was the gas gauge didn't work. And as everyone knows, the gas tank for Volkswagen's in the front. So to determine how much gas I had to slam on the brakes and listen to it slosh back and forth.
That's the first time we've heard that one. You would be surprised how many people. We had Ashley, and I keep using her as an example, the assistant city manager down there, and she's sitting there. We're going to all the things about the city. I said, about your first car, and she goes, well, and she just went into, what did she say? I can hot wire any car you can. And she went into this elaborate story about how good she was at hot wiring.
And the fact that she used the phrase, I put the screwdriver in the gap. And when you say that, you know what you're doing hot wiring.
No, she was good. All right, well, thank you very much. I can't believe people don't know you, but I want to kind of go over a little bit about the university and then get to know you a little bit better. So first of all, thank you for coming on the show. I'm going to get into some more of a personal question first. If you could pick any car, because this show is What Drives Reno, and it's car. Any car, I was going to say at the National Automobile Museum, I got to tie that in somehow, or any car at all, just for a classic car to drive around. Do you have one that just jumps out at you that says, that's the one I want someday?
Well, if you're speaking of the museum, I love the Tucker.
Tucker's a good one. Yeah, it is.
That is, and then the Thomas Flyer.
See, pick two great ones.
Yeah, I actually was up at Lake Tahoe in Glenbrook, and there's a private museum there, and there's a black and white photograph of somebody driving that Flyer up there on a dirt road. So there must have been a time after the big race,
probably, yeah,
that someone could drive it around. So it was neat to see it out in the wild. And if you asked me if there's any car that I could drive, and I'm driving it. So for my 60th birthday, I bought for myself a 1972 Volkswagen.
Oh, wow.
And it's a little VW convertible. I love that little car, 4-speed. And there's nothing else I'd rather be in. So
perfect. See, you got it. See, a lot of people most people say something like that. Volkswagen. I don't know anybody that says I want a Bugatti or something like that. No, it's what you had that dream. You know what you want. You got it. Yeah. It's funny because one of the first times I got some quality time with you was driving in a very famous car.
Yes.
The Batmobile.
Not any Batmobile.
The Batmobile.
The Batmobile.
So I'm going to I think it's safe for me to share this story now. So your team reached out. You said you're doing a ceremony with the new garage up there. Is that what it was?
Yes, new parking garage.
So we brought a couple of cars up there to support you, and we brought the Batmobile, the dragster number 4. There's two things you don't know. One was I rolled the dice on that one. I really should not have taken that car out, but I said, okay, no, this is cool. The whole way there, talk about Ozempic and Wegovy and all that.
Yeah.
The biggest diet plan is take a car out that it's worth $1 million or more, and pray that you get back safely. So most of that time when I was doing this smile, I was just, please let me get back in one, please let me get back in one. You can't just go around and get an extra hubcap for the Batmobile.
Yeah. Well, and we were so grateful, we being the university and personally, and, for me, somebody who grew up in the 60s, and that car was magic. I mean, it's just when you saw that, and then the Batman
everybody was doing it going down the street.
So it was magical, and we will savor the memories from that day. So thank you for taking the risk.
No, it was special. I have, talk about my age group and that whole song part, I have the Bat Cycle from the original series in the movie in the museum right now.
Wow. Oh, wow.
So I got the original one there, and I'm not going to lie, cameras are off. I have sat on that. Just did the theme song once or twice. So it's great. So I want to share one other quick story that you don't know. So we have you had the parade, and we brought up the Packer, you and your lovely wife. We gave him a ride down there. So it's hard to explain this, but what you don't know is when we were at the top of that hill, we're getting ready for the parade. Right before that, I was having some problems with the car. It's a 1942 Packer, and I'm getting a little nervous, so I had to get it in gear and start it. And I'm going to coast a little bit. I said, no problem, I'll coast. It's not going to be an issue. But where they placed us was on top of the hill.
Oh, no.
And right below was the full marching band. and when you were talking to people, I'm going, oh, my God. Like, please, just kick into gear the first 4 feet, please. This is going to be really, really terrible. We got past the band. It was clear sailing after that. But another fun,
You're good under pressure. You're good under pressure.
You couldn't tell. All right, I'm going to jump back into some other things now. The university has gone through some amazing growth. Can you share some of the things that are under your leadership and what you have planned, or some things that are recently occurred?
No, a lot of things going on, and I can break it down into different areas. Our enrollment is growing and is high or higher than it's ever been, and we're really proud of that. We have over 20,000 undergraduate and graduate students in person on campus. We have over 7,000 high school students in our collegiate academies. So our courses at the university are taught in the high schools statewide. So over 7,000 students, over 30 high schools. It is the exact same curriculum. So if your son and daughter is going to Reno High, and this fall Wooster High, North Valleys, they can take a University of Nevada course, no difference than the course they're taking in a high school campus taught by their qualified faculty than what a student on the campus is taking.
Wow.
And it's been absolutely transformative. And so we're pleased about that. You see a lot of activity on campus. So we just opened a brand new business building, and it is spectacular. And I would put that building up against anything you'll find in the U.S. We have a new state health lab. That will be finished in October. We have a new student field house where all of the athletic teams will be able to practice indoors, and our band, our ROTC, club teams, intramurals, 70,000 square feet. Jeez, so it's almost a full football field.
Brand new.
Brand new. It'll open in October. We will break ground next year on a new life sciences building, and so that's where your pre-med, your pre-nursing, public health, all of those things take their courses there. And then we should be breaking ground on a new hotel on the corner of Virginia and 9th Street, immediately next to the business building. So a lot of activity there as well. Our research is at an all-time highest in the history of 152 years of the university in terms of philanthropy, and we're very grateful for the support that we receive from the community. We're going to have a record year this year as well. So good things.
Just a few things on your plate. Those are all somebody accomplishes that in over the course of like 5 years. You're doing it just now, all at the same time.
You say you, but you is everybody.
Right.
And I'm really blessed to have a fabulous team, and I love our students. You know, we're an original land-grant university founded in 1874. A lot of people don't realize that. We're going to celebrate our 152nd anniversary.
That's amazing.
This fall. So there's a lot of history. This was ranked the number 8 college town in the United States. Reno was. And
I love chalking these little
That's great.
Yeah, that's another great one.
So, the history of this university is inextricably intertwined with the community, and I couldn't ask for anything more.
Well, I was going to get into that a little bit. So, but what role do you see university playing in shaping the identity over short term, next 10 years or so? Because to me, it's such an integral part of the fabric of Reno and Sparks.
Yeah, and
Nevada.
Yeah, and we're doing it. We meet with local government, city council, county commission, as well as the state government. We meet regularly with the governor's office of economic development. I sit on the board of EDON, the Economic Development Authority of Western Nevada. I meet with new companies that are coming in because they're going to say, "Hey, where am I going to get my engineers?
Right.
Where am I going to get my chemists? Where am I going to get my nurses? Where am I going to get my doctors?" So, when we talk about workforce, the university is at the hub of all this.
Yeah, you're the glue. You're the glue that keeps it all together. I'll just share real quick. The National Automobile Museum, because we have the word national, everyone has a perception. We get all these federal grants. We get all this money from the government. We don't get a nickel. Are there any misconceptions or things that you want the viewers to know or information you want to share just to get out there that maybe people aren't educated enough?
Well, I'll say this. I think people should understand that there is a national university, not in their backyard, in their front yard.
Yeah, great.
And, we're one of the top 200 universities in the country. I love to tell this story. I woke up one morning and they talked about, there's an article in Time magazine about the top 500 universities in the world, not in the United States, in the world. And I thought, could it be possible? And I go through. The University of Nevada came in at 420th on planet Earth. One of the top 100 research universities in the country. We just started a new aeronautical engineering program. Many of our programs are ranked top in the country. So, a lot of people view I shouldn't say a lot. Some view the university as a kind of a regional, when we're a national university and we can, punch with anybody.
No, I love that, because some people may be around here that grew up, but the outside world looking in has us at a much higher level pedestal.
Yeah. So
we're ranking in all levels.
And our campus is as beautiful as you will find. And, the first building was built in 1885. It's a state arboretum. And we have modern buildings. We have historical buildings. And our students, they're amazing. They work so hard. They have grit. They have talent. They have, they're smart. And they go out in the world, and that's what I get from the employers. We love getting University of Nevada students because they're on time, they're reliable, and they do an amazing job.
I love the fact that the first thing you said when I said you said us. It's the team. Because we can't do that. Yeah. We all make it happen. The pack. I love that. You spent your career serving Nevada, and what continues to motivate you? Because you have all these different things. I don't see how you can fit it all in, but how do you keep motivated? Is there a certain thing that you like to share?
Yeah.
It's such a really wild question, but
no, and the reason why I hesitate, because some people don't believe it. I love our state. I absolutely love our state, and I love this university. And I tell the students, my story. Because I grew up in Sparks, raising sheep, and
so people don't know that.
Yeah,
they forget that you're a local guy.
Yeah, I grew up in Sparks. Reed High School wasn't even there, on a dirt road, and we raised sheep, and I saved my money. That's how I bought that first Volkswagen. That's how I paid my tuition. And if you told the 18-year-old Brian that he would someday serve in the legislature, serve on the gaming commission, be an attorney general, serve as a federal judge, serve as governor, and then the president of the university, he would have never believed it. And what I tell the students is that's the beauty of this being a land-grant university and going to school here. You can be whatever it is you want to be, but you got to work for it. And so I really feel that I need to pay it forward.
I love that. Yeah. And you kind of just answered my next question, but I was going to ask you, what piece of advice specifically would you give people, college students, people that our goal is to get into more leadership or just to grow? Anything specific thing?
No, and I tell the students this: be proud of who you are, and be proud of where you came from. Because when I was a kid, I was embarrassed.
Why?
Because I was just a country kid, and I was really shy. And, I don't know how much time we have, but
Plenty of time.
Okay, well, here's a story. So I had the opportunity and interned for Senator Paul Laxalt, who was a very famous U.S. Senator, best friends with Ronald Reagan. And when I applied, I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any ins. And I wrote a personal statement. And in that personal statement, I wrote that I raised sheep. Well, I didn't know that Paul Laxalt's father was a shepherd who had come from the Basque Country. And they told me this story later on when his staff saw my application. They went to the senator and said, "We got to have this guy. He's a sheep guy." And, for me, it was embarrassing because some days in grade school and high school, I'd come to school smelling like a sheep because, you had to feed, you had to water in the morning,
do the work.
And turns out that's one of the biggest things that changed my life was that.
I love that because if you didn't write that word and if you were, embarrassed or uncomfortable, who knows what might have been a big pile of resumes and never opened that door.
No, that's what distinguished me. Yeah.
Do you have someone in your career that you say was my mentor or someone you just help you, guide you, coach you?
Well, obviously, always my parents, right. And I was very blessed to have wonderful parents. My dad has passed away. I still have my mom, so it's wonderful. But I had 3 great people who were mentors to me. Paul Laxalt, as I just mentioned, Bill Raggio, who was the longest serving state senator. So when I was an assemblyman, I was nested in his Senate district, and he was very, very good to me. And Kenny Gwynn, who was a governor, and he was governor when I was attorney general. And, the 3 of them were amazing people, honest people. Someone said to me that I'm kind of the last of the Jedi because I had the opportunity. I'm the last one that was, worked with them. Yeah. And so, again, those were my 3 mentors.
Is there one moment, me personally, I don't know about you, Terry, is there one moment you reflect back on, you say, boy, in my career, there's one experience that if I could just go back to that one moment, it was so inspiring, it was so emotional, it was so powerful. Is there anything that jumps out? I probably got a million. I mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no.
I'll just share mine.
Okay.
Mine really quickly while you think of yours. Mine was when I had a chance to go in and I did an internship as well. And we just kind of triggered it. There was all these people. I came from like a Mayberry town. Everybody knew everybody. And I got picked to be part of this program, and I was not a chance in the world I was going to do that. It was an exchange student, going to be part of the exchange student program. Didn't think for a minute. I was the shyest kid, but that experience taking me out of the country completely changed me personally, and I know that. So
yeah, and I think for me, and as I mentioned, I was a shy, insecure kid, and from Country Sparks, and I think the moment, and there are ones along the journey, but when I got into law school, I felt less than. I didn't think I was smart enough or good enough to be a lawyer, and I will never forget that day. It was February 14th, 1986. It was Valentine's Day, and I got that first envelope that I had been admitted to law school, and I said, no matter what happens, I get to go to law school. And so I do remember that.
Is there something you think our listeners will be surprised to learn about you outside politics or outside the university?
Well, first one is, this isn't a surprise. I'm married to an amazing woman, Laurel and Sandoval.
I met her. She's amazing.
She's delightful, and we have such a great time, and I enjoy my kids, and I'm very proud of them all. But I think when people see me around town at Costco or at Home Depot, you'll see me in flip-flops and shorts and a T-shirt, or we love to hike or be outside. And, I can tell you many, many times I'll be in Costco and they're like, what are you doing in Costco? And I'm like, shopping.
What are you doing here?
And they're like, don't you have somebody do that for you? And I'm like, no. But even this past weekend, for Memorial Day weekend, Laurel and I took a drive and we went to Lassen National Park. We had not been there, and we love to be outside and see the beautiful places.
People ask these kind of questions all the time, but I just love hearing their response. If you could sit down, interview somebody, who would it be? Anyone jumps out at the top of your mind
Well,
and says
living or historical. I mean, obviously, Abraham Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt, those are two people that absolutely fascinate me. I also have a little podcast that I do, and so I get to interview a lot of our faculty. And that's another thing. You asked me that other question. We have incredible faculty on our campus that do things that I never even imagine happen in our campus, and study and research things that are literally changing the world. So I'm blessed because I wouldn't say on a daily basis, but on a weekly basis, I'll meet and chat with faculty and learn about what they're doing. Yesterday, I was at this University Terawatt facility out in Stead, and they have this accelerator, and they're doing experiments that are going to have a national and international impact. So every day I get inspired by that.
Is there someone on your short list that you would love to have on your podcast to meet someday?
Oh,
You could put anybody out there that you
Phil
would say,
MacDougall. No.
Other than Phil.
You checked off the box. The bucket list is done.
It's really hard because I read a lot, and there's so many different people that I learn about. I'm all about history.
Me too.
So I'd love to go, and I guess to answer your question in a different way, if I had one wish, my wish would be able to go back in history and be invisible and be able to watch historical events.
Yeah.
But, I'm fascinated by Nevada. So just historical Nevada figures and past governors and things like that, because I'm getting to the point where I know a lot about Nevada history, but I'd really like to get some of the backstories on things.
I'm a huge history buff. I love watching the shows, biography. And similar to your story about the word sheep that came into it, there are so many famous people in this world that we all know that were a word or a chance encounter that was somebody that took them from staying in town to becoming a president or becoming an astronaut. There's so many people. My biggest thing is that I tell people, especially younger people, you have all the confidence in the world. Don't sell yourself short. It's really hard to say because you walk into a group of people that you feel are just so much more educated, smarter. No, you all bring something to the table. So just let it shine, but don't take no for an answer.
No, you're absolutely right. And, on campus, a lot of these kids talk about imposter syndrome, and they don't feel like they belong.
And it's a real thing.
It is. Yeah. No, it
is.
And I've lived it.
I do too.
But you're right. Everyone has, that special sauce that differentiates them. And you always know as much or more than someone else in the room. And take risks. Don't be afraid to fail, because everybody does.
We all have our insecurities. If a student was following you around for a day, what do you think the most surprising or thing they would come back and say it would surprise them, shock them?
Your
schedule, because you're just going
my
from
schedule, I'm
meeting to meeting
running
to meeting.
around. But like, for example, this morning,
get your own food at Costco.
But for example, this morning, a couple of students, Latina students who are pre-law, said, "Would you spend some time with us and give us some advice?" So we went and had coffee at Café Con Papi. I don't know if you've been there. It's over on Valley Road. But just visiting with them, and they said, "We can't believe that you would spend this much time with us." And I love it. So I think, and I've heard this, they're like, "You're a real person," and of course I am. And I'm still the Brian that I was in Sparks, Nevada, raising sheep. I've had some amazing experiences and things, but I think everybody reverts back to who they were when they grew up.
Yeah, but you are a real person. I've seen you off camera and on camera and all different scenarios. You are the real deal. But there are people that have half the accomplishments, professional accomplishments that you've had, that aren't approachable, that are different. So it's really refreshing. I'm going to share a story that I don't know if you remember, but one of the first times I met you, I said, "Hey, I'm looking to do something," and I won't get into the specific thing. And it was Super Bowl weekend. Do you remember? You know what I'm going to say? I had said, we're going to do some exhibit. And without getting the details, I met you briefly at a Driving Force event. Like 5 days later, but it was Super Bowl weekend, Super Bowl day, that you called me. And I'm like, oh my God, really? And you had said, "I can't make any promises, but there's someone of that person. I think I can make an introduction for you. And I'm going, he's calling me on a Super Bowl Sunday to letting me know that he didn't forget about a really quick conversation I had with you in passing. And he said, no promises, but I'll try and make that. I just wanted you to know I didn't forget. Hung up the phone and I go, Sherry, he just called me about something that I thought he didn't even, wasn't really paying attention. That goes a long, long way with people.
Yeah, well,
and truthfully, you wouldn't be so successful and well-liked if you didn't have those traits.
Credit to my mom and dad. They brought me up right. And,
it's great.
I care deeply about people, and I want everyone to be successful.
Okay. So before we wrap up, what are the couple things you want to share with our audience that you just want to make sure we reinforce or bring to the table, or something we haven't talked about today? Anything come to mind?
I think we've covered it. And obviously I'm the president of the University of Nevada, and support the PAC, and just know, when you send your sons and daughters up to campus, we're going to take good care of them and make sure they get a great education and have great opportunities as they move forward. And they'll be very proud that they went to school there.
I love it.
I got one question.
All right.
And
I got one more at the end.
Okay. And I'm genuinely curious about this. Do you miss the government or politic world? And it's a serious question, because I know some people, when they do leave, they kind of look back and go, I kind of miss it. Even though it's as dirty and cutthroat as it can be.
And it's rough. But obviously there are things that I miss, and I miss being able to do, we're doing big things on campus,
very
but
much.
when you serve as governor, you get to affect healthcare policy, the environment, the roads, education, K through 12,
everything.
University. You do.
Yeah.
But I also firmly believe that, and I'm glad there are term limits. 8 years is enough.
It is.
And you do certain things, and then a new person comes in and brings a new set of skills and such. So, I'm really grateful that I got to serve and do what I did. And there are things I miss, but I always look forward. I don't look back.
Good.
Yeah.
Perfect answer.
All right. One last really, really important question we're saving for the end. When you get in your car right now and you're driving long trip, short trip, what is your go-to song that if nobody knows, you're just rocking out to? Do you have a go-to song?
It's a lot of things. Well, I have a rule in my Volkswagen. It's a 72 Volkswagen. Only 70s music gets played. But, I don't know if there's a go-to song. I'm a big Billy Joel fan. So you can play Billy Joel, Hall & Oates, Journey. You can click off all these 70s bands. The Beatles, Queen.
Love
yes.
Queen.
Yes. So you can keep clicking. Maybe a little AC/DC every now and then. So
Some Bon Scott, though, some earlier.
Yes,
AC/DC.
Bon Scott for sure.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Phil, thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show. I know you have a really busy schedule, and every time I've met you, you've been the most down-to-earth, polite, just so comforting, and I'm very, very grateful for everything you do, and I know all of our listeners are very grateful for you to be on the show today.
Well, Phil, I'm grateful for you and your leadership at the National Automobile Museum, and that is a gem of Northern Nevada.
We're having fun.
No, and for me, it is one of those bucket list things for Reno, and we're grateful that we have it, and we're grateful that we have a leader at the helm who's really taken it to places it's never been before.
Well, like you, I have a great team, and the board's letting me do it. And the keys work today, so that's a good sign. I'm still there. All right, President Sandoval, thank you very much for the show. We're going to take a quick break, and we're right back with our next guest.
Go Pack.
We'll be back with more What Drives Reno on 1060 AM KFOY, Radio for America.
Looking for a venue for your next event? The National Automobile Museum can host any event in a variety of venues to choose from. Have an awards ceremony in the 157-seat theater, or select one of several themed galleries for a business luncheon or banquet. Guests will love the 16,000-square-foot Riverside Pavilion, complete with outdoor bar, heaters, and fire pits. Everything you need, including chairs, linens, staging, and AV equipment, are also available. Go to automuseum.org for details.
I'm having my birthday at the National Automobile Museum. They have this cool birthday zone with Mater and Lightning McQueen. And their brand new Children's Activity Center has fun games like Junior Engineering Studio, Lego Building, an interactive car wash, and a lot more too. They even have a theater where we can watch a movie or play Mario Kart. I even get my own birthday t-shirt.
Book your child's ultimate birthday party today at the National Automobile Museum. Visit automuseum.org/events.
We're back with more What Drives Reno, presented by the National Automobile Museum in downtown Reno. And now here's your host, Phil MacDougall.
Welcome back, Reno. Great interview with President Sandoval, and I'm really, really excited because our next guest, Jack Stanko, he is the owner and president of Champion Chevrolet. Welcome to the show, Jack.
Thank you, Phil.
Thanks for coming on today. We're going to jump right into it. And my first question to you, and you actually have a prop, was what was your first car? And you're the first person to bring in a model of that car in almost a year now. So it's perfect. You don't have to visualize. We're going to know exactly what it is. So, Jack, thank you. Welcome to the show. If you don't mind, share your first car.
Well, my first car was a 1954 Chevy Bel Air two-door hardtop, black, two-tone color, black with a white top and a white stripe, six-cylinder with a standard shift in it. Paid $500 for it. And a number of years ago, I ran across a model, and the 53 and 54 were almost identical, other than the headlights.
And you're holding it right now.
Yeah,
You get a chance to see it. Beautiful.
I bought it. I've got a bunch of models, and it's a real rare car. You can hardly find it. So I taught my wife how to drive on that car.
A lot of memories?
Yeah.
Any memories you could share with us today that are G-rated?
Basically,
you start up with a
We can go PG. We can go PG.
I taught her how to drive in a cemetery.
Okay, now that's
Okay.
a first. That's the first on the show.
I said, you can't kill anybody. They're all dead there.
Okay. You planned ahead.
Yeah.
You planned ahead.
Anyway.
So, Jack, tell me a little bit about you. How did you get to where you are, the business? This next 15 minutes or so, just learn about you, your support to the community. I know everywhere I go, I see your name, your company name. But how did it all get started?
Well, I was born and raised in Youngstown, Ohio. Went to South High School. When I graduated high school, there was an Oldsmobile dealership next door. And I went over there and applied for a job, and I hired in as a service runner, driving people home, bringing their cars back for service, sweeping floors, running for parts, you name it. Basically, it was
doing everything needed to be done.
Yeah, and it was a entry-level type job. And I've only had 3 jobs in my life, basically in the industry. I worked for the Olds dealer about 8 or 9 years. Ended up being a service manager. Became a service advisor, assistant manager, and then became service manager.
Worked your way up.
And then decided I wanted to sell cars. And I went to the owner and said, if I work as hard up front as I do back here running the shop, I think I could do well. And he said, oh, geez, the economy's tough. I don't think so. But anyway, finally he said, okay. And
where was this? Was this back home? Or was
this was back in Youngstown.
Youngstown, okay.
It's Stankos Oldsmobile. And so I went up there and did very well. I spent 3 or 4 years selling. And the Buick dealership in town was always after me. And they owned Youngstown Buick, State Chevrolet, and Valley Pontiac. They had three stores they owned. And I went up as a new car salesman at the Buick dealership for 3 or 4 years. And they sent me up as general manager of the Chevrolet store, State Chevrolet. I was general manager and president of that store for 12 years. And I was on a successor addendum to replace the dealer with General Motors. And they brought a grandson along and asked me if I would train him. So he worked with me, and he eventually took over. And they wanted me to stay and have a piece of it. And I said, no, that's like 2 ladies in the kitchen. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, he just retired. And he and I have been friends ever since. He's retired down in Fort Lauderdale. But anyway, I spent 18 years as general manager of 2 big Chevrolet dealerships, 12 in Youngstown. And then I was looking for my own dealership. And in the meantime, there was an opportunity to go to Albuquerque to manage a big Chevrolet store there. And I did that for 6 years, and then came up here in 1988 and purchased this dealership.
Okay. Doesn't seem And you're only like 42. So how is that possible?
I wish that's all I was. That's what I was when I got here.
Yeah. All right. And you've been here. So what year did you get here?
1988. This is our 38th year.
And it's been all just roses and.
Not all the time, but
some ups
it's
and downs?
been good. It's been good, and I've got my son in the dealership with me. He's a part owner now, and then he's got family. His daughter is working with us as an HR person. She just got her master's from Harvard.
Wow.
And two of my grandsons are there. So one's an assistant used car manager, and the other one's taking care of all the facility. So it's a real family business.
That's great. That's great. And you've been very successful. I mean this. I look around and I see from either Hot August Nights to or other nonprofit organizations, you've sponsored athletics. You're everywhere. So thank you very much for doing that. Is there anything you want to touch on that any one of those? Because I know you're just involved in a lot of things.
Yes. Hot August Nights is a great event. For Reno, it's the only special event that's basically out there, and it brings in a lot of income to the city.
The hotels,
everywhere. The casinos,
everyone
the
benefits
workers.
from that. Yeah,
gas stations.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, legit. Yeah,
it's a great event, and it's a fun event. Takes you back in time, and when you see the people that come in, the challenge is to keep the younger generation involved, like the older generation, because the cars in the 50s and 60s were what they grew up with.
Can I just touch on that for a minute? Because that's a big issue we have with the National Automobile Museum. You know, we have 240 automobiles. You've been there many times. A lot of cars dedicated to horses' carriages in the 20s and 30s, 50s and 60s. And Mr. Hara passed away in 78, and most of the collection kind of stopped at that point. Since that time, we brought in Formula One and NASCARs and different exhibits to keep the younger people engaged. Because it's changed, don't you think? It's hard to keep them as engaged.
Yeah, there's some younger people that their father maybe restores cars and
passing it down.
They kind of get involved with it. But I really think that they just have to keep it for the younger generation to get them involved in it. They're driving different type of vehicles, and they're looking at different type of vehicles. Corvettes are still strong with everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, everybody loves a Corvette. But all in all, Hot August Nights is their 40th year.
Yep.
And I started in year 2 with them when we had like 50 cars entered.
Wow.
And, it's grown way up from there. But it's a great event, and it's a nonprofit. Yeah. Scholarships. Similar to what I do with the Boys and Girls Club. I donate a new truck to them every year for their Cipino dinner. And then I write them a check for $25,000 every year for scholarships. Wow. And we've been doing this for 20 years. And it's for the kids, really. One of the neatest things that we're doing now, and this is kind of interesting, we've been a sponsor with UNR for a long time.
Right.
And I've always done an Athlete of the Month. And back about 2 years ago, RGJ came to me and said, hey, that's a great promo you do, and you're doing it on TV and everything else and in the newspaper. What do you think of doing a high school athlete of the week? And I said, as long as I don't have to count the votes.
Right.
And they said, no, we'll do that. So we started doing that, and that is unbelievable. We give all the high schools are in it. And some weeks there's 100,000 votes.
Wow, you got great participation.
I think moms are voting 10 times.
Yeah.
But regardless.
They're on speed dial, whatever, the internet, just refreshing. Vote.
And it's for boys and girls, and whoever wins, so the boy and girl that wins each week, whatever sport it is, Champion Chevrolet gives them a $100 gift certificate to Shields. Mm-hmm. And that, when I grew up as a kid, I played a lot of Little League and Pony League baseball. And it was a big deal to read my name in the paper if I did something.
Yeah.
I still have some of the clippings 50 years later. And so it's a way to get the young kids some real good publicity. And the Reno Gazette-Journal has done a good job covering it.
No, that's good.
And they get some nice big write-ups, and they get their pictures in. And so that's one of the things we're doing now that really stands out. Yeah.
We've had the executive director for Boys and Girls Club on, I think, 2 weeks ago. Lisa Jansen, executive director Hot August Nights.
Yes.
She was just on last week with me and just talking about all the exciting things they do. Boys and Girls Club, I mean, I had no idea how many lives they touch.
Oh, they feed like 15,000 a day.
I had just no idea. I think a lot of these words, these brands, we know. You know, there's certain words that we grew up with, but I think we lose sight of how many people they affect. We just assume, oh, they have all this federal funding. No, they don't.
No.
It's the generosity of people in the community that help keep it going.
What's interesting, if you hear the kids that when they pick a boy and girl of the year, and they get up and they talk about what they want to do in life, and the ones that are getting scholarships, I go to the luncheon every year. They want to be engineers, they want to be, I mean, it's just amazing. Nurses, they want to get into the medical field. And a lot of them came from a real tough start.
Yeah.
A real hard start.
President Sandoval was just on a couple of minutes ago, right before you, and what a great man. But he kind of touched on this. He submitted a resume, and he had mentioned during the interview that he used the word. He was a sheep herder, and he thought, maybe I'm a little embarrassed about that, but that's what triggered his internship to get attention for that. And we're also talking about how many people just need that little bit of chance. So Boys and Girls Club, they have just so many different challenges or obstacles or potential barriers. They just need someone to give them a chance or an opportunity to give them the confidence to move forward.
It gives them a
That's
way
why
to
it's
belong.
so powerful. Yeah.
And a lot of the kids that go through the Boys and Girls Club end up working there.
Yeah.
They end up being mentors for other kids. It's really, and Mike Worm's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, Mike was just on with me last week. It's just amazing. He's been doing that for a very long time. Talk about passionate in what you believe in.
Yes.
And then the event you just mentioned, he says it's sold out. There's a waiting list to get into that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. And now I just heard a fact, maybe you could verify it with me, that you've been over 37 years, over 120,000 cars?
Yes.
Big number.
Yes.
Did you ever think when you bought that car back then that you'd be sitting on a radio show talking about all the things you've been able to touch and influence and improve upon? But that number is a big one.
Yes. And we've got a great group of employees. We employ 140 people. And we try and offer them good pay, good benefits, and make it a place where they enjoy coming to work. And so we've got a great staff of people, and that's the key to it.
Yes, it is. It is. You guys, great reputation, but it starts at the top with your vision and your culture. If you were to say, no, I'm going to do a donation of a free oil change once in a while, some people, that's most they want to do. I think, just to your credit, if you look back and the money you've dedicated, the resources to those organizations, it's amazing how many people you've touched. So thank you very much for what you do. And Hot August Nights, for those people who aren't familiar with it, which is hard to believe, it's just an amazing experience.
Yes, it is.
It keeps people engaged. We had that same challenge I mentioned about the museum trying to get young people more engaged. So we built a 3,000 square foot children's activity center. And I don't know if you can relate to this, but I know how I was. I was not good at the books. I was visual. Someone gave me something, I could look at it, and I could really engage. Gave me something I had to spend an hour trying to figure out. It was a little challenging in a book. That we put things in the museum to hopefully attract all different children of all ages. So if you want to learn how the tires go on, you can put a car on the tires, blinkers work. You get an interactive car wash that you're learning as you're washing the car in the game, how all the different parts of the car interact. Man, there's another part. If you want to design, show your creativity, they can actually build a car and then it shows up on the screen, or the old-fashioned pulleys and wheels and stuff, and then racing cars or Legos and even racing machines that you race with your body all through Reno. But every one of them gets a little bit of a taste of the automobiles and the history, and we're hoping we're making a difference. And I know we are, because we had 2,500 kids come through the museum last year, and
very good.
That's a lot of, not just the children, it's the parents that they affect as well.
Do the schools get involved in bringing the students over?
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges we have at the museum is reminding people that we're here.
Yes.
We were voted top 5 automobile museum in the country by USA Today last year. TripAdvisory #1. But the people, the locals, like, oh, yeah, that's Bill Harrah collection. I haven't been there since I was in 4th grade or something like that, our field trip. And this year, we have over 120,000 visitors. We've doubled in the last 4 years.
Very good.
But the biggest part is the community, the board has put money into it. Sponsors have come in and said these are programs, educational programs that are making a difference, not just the museum, which is a 501c3, but it's a tool for the children to benefit from. And that's truly, if we get them engaged and committed, it's just frosting on the cake, everything else. Is there anything that you would like to share that you're passionate about with the viewers? I do have one question I ask everybody as well while you're thinking about that. If you didn't go the career path that you did, is there one particular thing that you say, boy, if I didn't go this, I was going to do this, or this is my wish?
Well, it's interesting. When I started working at the Oldsmobile dealership, and I always loved cars, and then as I progressed up, I said, boy, if I could ever own an Oldsmobile dealership. And it's very difficult to get your own dealership. General Motors has 2,900 Chevrolet stores. Total with Buick and GMC, they probably have about 4,000 or 5,000 total. And so you've got a lot of people in the industry that are out there. And then now you've got public companies buying them up,
right,
and buying up a bunch of them. And so it's a very difficult thing to find an opportunity and get it. But I always said if I could only get an Oldsmobile dealership. And I'll tell you an interesting story. General Motors has a division called Motors Holding that loans people money that have the ability but don't have the money. And at the old store, they were a Motors Holding dealer, and I got to be friends with the rep for General Motors, and he kind of watched my career as I left there and went to the Buick store and then went to the Chevrolet store. And I never forget, he said, I said, I want my own dealership. He said, well, save $100,000 and I'll get you a dealership. So about 3 or 4 years later, I called him. I said, I'm there. He said, oh, to get one the size you're going to want, it's going to take about $250.
Yeah, he moved.
So I went back for another 3 or 4 years and called him, and I said, I'm there. He said, oh, it's going to take more than that now. So finally, they start. And today, with the price of everything today, I mean, it's a big investment. But what else would I have done with my life? I went to Youngstown State University. My brother was a professor there. He taught criminal law and criminal justice, and I'd have probably stayed in the industry as a sales manager, general manager, something like that, if I didn't get an opportunity to get my own. And I chased 3 or 4 different dealerships in Columbus, Ohio. I wrote a buy-sell agreement on a Pontiac store, and the dealer backed out of it and closed it down, sold the property separate. Nobody got it. Mm-hmm. And then when I went to Albuquerque, to the Chevrolet store there, the regional manager had been the guy that signed me in the successor addendum, said, if I don't get you the state Chevrolet, I'll get you another deal.
He's working with you.
Yeah, and he said, but we don't have anything right now. He said, but there's a store in Albuquerque that really needs somebody to run it. And this is before public companies, and he was worried that they didn't know what they were going to do with it. He said, but if you do a job there, you can probably find something out west. And that's basically what happened. So it's
it all came together.
Yeah,
it all worked out, and I couldn't think of a better way to make this all happen, because not only did all those different things happen, the 100,000, 250, it got you to where you are today. You've affected all these different organizations in a positive way. So it all worked out for everybody. And we're very grateful to have you on the show.
Phil, I appreciate that. And we really, if it has to do with boys and girls and kids, that's kind of really where our heart is to go out and do what we can to help them.
Do everything we can, because we're going to, if we don't put it into the children, we're going to have other areas to work on later on. So invest it into the children. I agree 100%. Jack, thank you very much for coming on the show. If people have any questions, is there a telephone number or a website, or just look you up on the web?
Yeah, just go to my website. It's the letter J, Stanko, Stanko, at championchevchev.com.
Perfect. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thanks
Appreciate
for having us.
it. Thank you.
Okay.
We're going to take a quick break and be right back.
We'll be back with more What Drives Reno on 1060 AM KFOY, Radio for America.
I'm having my birthday at the National Automobile Museum. They have this cool birthday zone with Mater and Lightning McQueen. And their brand new Children's Activity Center has fun games like Junior Engineering Studio, Lego Building, an interactive car wash, and a lot more too. They even have a theater where we can watch a movie or play Mario Kart. I even get my own birthday t-shirt.
Book your child's ultimate birthday party today at the National Automobile Museum. Visit automuseum.org/events.
Looking for a venue for your next event? The National Automobile Museum can host any event in a variety of venues to choose from. Have an awards ceremony in the 157-seat theater or select one of several themed galleries for a business luncheon or banquet. Guests will love the 16,000-square-foot Riverside Pavilion, complete with outdoor bar, heaters, and fire pits. Everything you need, including chairs, linens, staging, and AV equipment, are also available. Go to automuseum.org for details.
We're back with more What Drives Reno, presented by the National Automobile Museum in downtown Reno. And now here's your host, Phil MacDougall.
Terry,
Yo.
love our guests today. Love all our guests. But today, President Sandoval and Jack, great people, truly driving Reno.
Yeah, that they're true. And when I say this, it's you can actually say this about them. They're true pillars of the community.
And I feel like going, oh, I sound so silly. I was just telling you off the air. But I mean it. People don't remember, or they lose track, when Jack was sitting there involved with the Boys and Girls Club or Hot August Nights, people go, oh, yeah, we make a contribution. No, he's literally changing lives. And not just the children that are in those programs. Yeah. It's the children's brothers and sisters, parents, and the domino effect.
All of it, yeah.
President Sandoval, he just kind of mentioned some of the offices he held. But for most people, like, on one, on two,
I forgot.
Off the air.
I forgot he was a federal judge.
It's funny because I wrote that down to ask him, and I said, no, I don't know. I better not say that. I wasn't sure. And then I looked it up. I go, my Lord, what else is there to be? And the most humble man you've ever seen in your life.
Wonderful guy.
And people just go off record, on record.
Nope.
Same guy all the time, just trying to make it happen. The very first thing he said was, and I used the word you, and he goes, not me, it's my team, it's my group.
Yeah.
Impactful, great man. Love to see him back in politics. So if you're listening, get back into it, please. Get back into it. All right, before we wrap up, I want to remind everybody this show is made possible by the National Automobile Museum. Today, if you use the word what? Remember the words?
UNR.
UNR. You say that to check in. You're going to get free admittance today. The first 3 people at the museum. Couple of big dates to put on your calendar. Our first concert is the Eagles Tribute. It's June 20th. You can't understand how cool this is. You're out in the pavilion. The Truckee River's right next to you. It takes place at the National Automobile Museum. Tickets are only $20. Bring your lawn chair. Have fun. You're going to know every single song. We have a whole lineup after that. We only have about 75 tickets left.
Wow.
So
okay.
It's going to sell out.
Yeah.
Then we have Jimmy Buffett Tribute on July 11th. The Beatles come in August. And then Creedence on the 19th. A lot of fun things happening. We are about to introduce our brand new exhibit. It's Speedway. We're going to have a full NASCAR simulator, Formula One, NASCAR sprint, speakers every quarter that's going to come in. It's completely state-of-the-art. Literally, they are putting the decals, putting the helmets on, building everything today. We will be up and going by June 20th. It's a soft launch date. But if you walk in before, you're going to see everything in the middle of the action. So Stay tuned for that. Good stuff?
Good stuff, man.
All right. Good show. Yep. Good people. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We are going to see you next week on What Drives Reno.
You've been listening to What Drives Reno, presented by the National Automobile Museum in downtown Reno. For more information about the museum, head on over to our website, automuseum.org. We'll be back next Saturday at 11 a.m. with What Drives Reno on 1060 a.m. KFOY, Radio for America.